Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for Fear the Walking Dead Season 2. And what this video is going to be doing is doing my predictions for what I think is going to happen in Episode 3 called Ouroboros. If you are not caught up with Fear the Walking Dead and you do not want to be spoiled in any way, then I would exit the video now and come back later, because otherwise you will be spoiled. Okay. So, when we last left off on Fear the Walking Dead, we saw the group back out on the yacht. They had had that experience on the island, and they were heading back out onto the water. I don't think that any of the story from the other group that we met is going to carry over into this episode. It just wouldn't make a lot of sense. So I think the group is going to have a new adventure. And of course, I think it is going to be involving Flight 462, which is the webisode series that The Walking Dead introduced to us in between Fear the Walking Dead's first and second seasons. We saw those little clips after episodes of The Walking Dead. And I think it's pretty clear that this episode is going to finally focus on what happened from there. And the trailer does indicate a couple of things, including which character or characters may have survived. We know for a fact that Charlie has survived. And Charlie is a female character who was from 462. She was known for being more of someone who could be like a leader. You know, she was very, knowledgeable about what was going on. It seems she knew how to handle herself. She killed several of the walkers that were on the plane. And seemed to be able to act whenever it was necessary. So I think that she's going to be a very strong survivor. I think she's going to be a big asset to the group. And if you notice at the beginning of the trailer, one thing that you see is that Jake is with her. And Jake was another passenger on the plane, and he was probably about 15, 16, 17 years old. He had been texting his mother before the plane took off, and we saw Charlie and Jake sitting together when the plane was crashing. And the two of them had formed a little bit of a, friendship. It took a little bit of time, but Charlie seemed to really care for Jake's well-being. And when you look at the first scene in the trailer, you see that Jake is very badly wounded. The two of them are on a raft. We see debris from the plane in the ocean. And, we see that Jake, he has, I don't know if those are burns, I don't know if those are cuts, I don't know what those are, but his face just looks terrible, and he looks like he's in very, very bad shape. And I think there's a very good chance that Jake is not going to make it. I think that more likely than not, Jake is going to die. And part of that, part of the reason I think that is because we already have several characters that are teenagers or younger in the group. And as much as I like Jake as a character, I just don't think that adding another teenager to the mix is going to make the show any more exciting. I think that adding Charlie, though, would definitely bring some more interest to the show and change the dynamic up quite a bit. So now the big question is, what is the order of events going to be? Because there's a lot of things that are going on in the trailer. And the synopsis reads that Madison confronts Strand about his mysterious destination. Meanwhile, Nick, Alicia, and others inspect wreckage from a plane crash. Well, at the beginning of the trailer, we see that Charlie and Jake are on a raft. Now, where exactly that raft goes, hard to say. Did they float in the ocean for several days, and are they going to run into the yacht right away? Or is the group not going to meet up with her until they get to shore? Because we see that Nick Alicia, Chris, Daniel Salazar, and I believe I saw Ophelia in that group as well, that they do go onto the shore, and we see them going up at some point to the plane wreckage. Chris does go inside and starts investigating, and we see Nick putting on the pilot uniform and is walking around in that. I think that he was just, thinking that it would be funny. He seems like that lackadaisical kind of person who would, oh, this looks cool. Let's have a little fun here. I'm a pilot. I just think that he's doing it to be funny, to just because that's something he's always wanted to wear, wanted to try on. And we see at one point in the trailer that Charlie is running back down the beach at the group yelling, "They're coming," meaning the walkers, and you look and you just see a bunch of walkers coming their way. So part of me wonders exactly what order of events are going to happen, because I could see this going in two different ways. One is that the group might run into Charlie and Jake floating on the raft on the yacht, and they might bring them onto the yacht and then go to the beach to investigate the plane crash, because that's how they find out about everything. And the reason I say that is possible is because there's one point in the trailer where Alicia is yelling at people, and I think Strand is probably with them, saying he's dying. Now, that could be referring to one of two individuals, in my opinion, based off of what's going on. One is that might be Jake. The fact that Jake is going to be in very bad shape. The group might invite them on the yacht to treat him. The other possibility is Travis, which I'll explain later. But I think there's a very good possibility that the group is going to run into them on the water, and they've been, in the raft for a while. They've been trying to survive, and then finally the group ends up finding them. The other possibility is that the raft floats onto the shore, and we see a little bit of a prequel, where Jake may die, or he might live and maybe die in this episode. And then Charlie ends up running into the group. The group tries to figure out what's going on. They investigate the plane crash. Maybe Charlie and Nick are together, and then Charlie breaks and runs because all the walkers are coming, and the group is waiting for Nick. Because we see the group asking, where's Nick? What's going on? And we see Nick is just covered in blood in the pilot uniform. And I think that this is going to be the first time that they are introduced to the concept of masking themselves in walker blood in order to not be noticed by the other walkers. I think they're going to notice that right away, and that's going to be something that they learn from this episode. So I think that those are the events that could happen, but it seems that no matter what, Charlie is going to be joining up with the group, and it'll be interesting to see how her role will change the group dynamic. The other major thing that is going on in the episode is that we see that Madison, Travis, and Strand seem to be involved with things on the yacht. Madison confronts Strand about his mysterious destination, and we see that. We see Madison asking him about that, and many people have been they've been coming up with a theory that Strand may be a drug dealer. And I think that that's fairly accurate. I think there's a very good chance that we are going to discover that, and that's what he's doing. One is, you found the machine gun, and you also found all those maps. And I think that maybe what Strand does is that he carries the drugs on his yacht. Like, that's what his yacht is for. And that maybe he is, the person that carries the drugs from one place to another. The other is the fact that it is Mexico, and I don't mean to be offensive, but one thing that you do hear about is that a lot of the illegal drugs are supplied from individuals from Mexico. It is just statistics. It's just what it is. And I think that that may be indicative of what's going on here, that Strand's contacts are in Mexico. He carries it to the United States, and he gets money for that, which is why he's able to be wealthy. The fact that he spotted Nick as an addict, maybe he just knows, more about addicts because that's his world. And the fact that he's talking to people on a sat phone. I mean, they're using very high-tech information or technology in order to use their business. And I think that that would make sense, that he's like, it's all clear now. At sundown, I'll be there. I think that it's very possible that he still thinks that the business needs to continue. There still needs to be a profit made. There still needs to be stuff going on, and he's going to do it. So I think it's very likely we might find out that that's what he's involved with. And what we see also going on is Travis getting in scuba gear and going into the water, seemingly underneath the boat. What I think is going to happen there, I think that because of the debris that's in the water from the plane, I think there's a very good chance that a piece of the debris from the plane is going to get caught maybe in the propeller, something like that, and it's going to be very hard for them to thus move, without potentially damaging the boat, things like that. And I think that Travis is going down there in order to remove the debris. And well, of course, when you do that, I guess maybe Strand doesn't really care that he's down there, or maybe something goes wrong, and we see that Travis may be in a little bit of a danger. I think, the propellers of the boat, I think may end up pulling him under, or whatever the deal is, and he may have a very close near-death experience. And I think it's very likely that that's going to happen, because the other possibility, again, with Alicia saying he's dying, could be in reference to Strand. That maybe Strand is just, hey, we're leaving, we got to get moving, the boat's going, and Travis is still under there, and the group is like, wait till he gets up, and Strand goes, nope, I got to get moving, and, that might be what they're screaming about as well. So there's a lot of different possibilities, but I think that one thing that we can see is that the group is finally going to learn a little bit more about what Strand is doing. They're going to finally run into Flight 462, see what the consequences are of that, and see how it affects the show. And, we're going to see Travis going under the yacht and maybe come close to dying. So I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen. If it's done right, I think it's going to be a pretty interesting episode, and I can't wait to see it. So with that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I want to thank all of you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see, don't be afraid to suggest them. Have a very wonderful evening, and thank you very much for watching.